so I was reading the Gospel of John. So the short version of it is I was in Columbia, South Carolina, saving up money to move to Spain to pursue acting and Spanish women, not necessarily in that order. And while I was there, in our party crowd, circle of friends, there was a young lady who was a believer. It was the first time somebody in my peer group was a Christian and actually vocal about their faith. And so she would come around us, but she wouldn't participate in our sin. So there was a clear distinction in terms of how she was living her life, and we didn't treat her well. So we would clown her, like behind her back and to her face, and she returned it with nothing but kindness. And that just really stood out to me. And so one night at a party, I was high on acid, LSD, and before that night, if you would have asked me if I believed in good and evil, my worldview said that there was no such thing as objective evil or evil for its own sake, but just different levels of good. But as I looked around that room at the party that night, I had the keen sense that I was in the presence of the demonic in a way that terrified me. And so I went out on the balcony to clear my mind, and as I was out there, I started to think about some things that my mom had told me years before, and I realized two things. One was that trying to run my own life just wasn't working at all. But then two was that I had rejected the Bible, but I had never actually read it for myself. Mm-hmm. So I had all these arguments against Christianity, but it was all things that I was just repeating that I'd heard from other people. And so I was just convicted of the foolishness of that. And so a few weeks after that, went to the bookstore, grabbed the Bible for the first time, and the first thing I remember reading is Psalm 25:7, when David says, "Remember not the rebellious ways of my youth."
Yeah.
And the Lord just cut me to the heart with that, and I called my mom, let her know what was going on, and she sent me a care package with the Bible, and she told me to read the Gospel of John. And so I will be in my bedroom, in our apartment, in the living room, there's parties going on, and I'm just reading through the Gospel of John. And it was through reading the Gospel of John that I had an encounter with the risen Lord Jesus. And the thing that struck me the most was the I am statements. Mm-hmm.